Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to NoDQ&A video right here on youtube.com/NoDQCAW, and as always, NoDQ.com, your source for the very latest regarding the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, which is now 1 week away. As you may know, I will be there in Phoenix covering the event for NoDQ.com, so make sure you stay tuned to NoDQ for all the very latest. With that being said, let's get right down to your questions. Hey Aaron, when do you think The Undertaker will return for WrestleMania? Do you think it will be before or after January? Well, considering the fact that Undertaker was not at the 20th anniversary Raw, I think that means WWE is going to hold off on bringing him back. I don't really see him showing up at the Royal Rumble in some sort of surprise role as an entrant or whatever. I think the likelihood is that we will see Undertaker return after Elimination Chamber once the build for WrestleMania gets going. You know, if it's Undertaker versus CM Punk, I'm sure that CM Punk's going to be in the Elimination Chamber match, and that's going to be the focal point. Undertaker coming back before Elimination Chamber would distract the build for Elimination Chamber, take the focus away from that pay-per-view. So I think we'll most likely see Undertaker on the Raw the night after Elimination Chamber, and that will kick off his match, the build to his match for WrestleMania. This one comes from Ricky Lawson. Hey Aaron, what did you think of the John Cena and Carlito feud where John Cena was, quote, stabbed in a nightclub by Carlito's bodyguard? Please answer in video. From what I remember, that was just an excuse to get John Cena off of TV for a few weeks so he could film The Marine. You know what? I wasn't really a big fan of that feud. Wasn't a big fan of Aaron Aguilera in that role. I think that, you know, he was not really fit to be on WWE television. And yeah, that whole storyline just didn't click for me. You know, Carlito was doing so well too. You know, Carlito came in and had a lot of momentum, but yeah, I'm glad that they dropped that really quickly because I don't think it was working, and I think they made the right decision to quickly move on to something else. This question should have been before my first one. Did you expect to see Taz as a member of Aces and Eights? Oh my God, I had no idea that Taz was going to be a member of Aces and Eights. What a shocker. Brilliant writing by TNA. No. You know what? I enjoyed that wedding segment. I thought that TNA did a good job building it up, and they did pop a rating for it, as I figured they would. You know, I liked the promo the week before with Bully Ray and Brooke and proposing to her. First of all, I think that they should have spent a few more weeks building up to the wedding. They could have gotten an even bigger rating. You know, he proposed to her and then the wedding's the next week. So they really rushed it, I thought. But, you know, I thought that all the performances were really good. You know, Bully Ray was great. Hulk Hogan was great. Even Brooke Hogan, I think, did a great job. So, you know what? I think that in that regard, it was a success. But the big reveal with Taz, you know, it was kind of funny with him saying, you know, it's really hot in here, and then he takes off his jacket. I thought that was kind of funny. But, yeah, the problem here is, yes, it was a swerve. You know, somebody else asked me here. This was actually from Set DWP08. What are your thoughts, reaction to Taz betraying Bully Ray and TNA when he took off his tux and had the Aces and Eights vest on? You know, I talked about the pros of the segment. The big negative to me is that what was the purpose? Why did Taz turn on TNA? It made absolutely no sense. It just, the reason it was such a shock was because it was completely random. You know, they could have had any random person turn and it would have been a shock. You know, Mike Tenay could have been a member of Aces and Eights, which, quite frankly, I think would have been even more entertaining to have Tenay turn. I mean, it's not like Taz is going to be wrestling, so don't really understand why it was done other than just to surprise people. You know, the usual Vince Russo-like swerve where you turn somebody and you shock everybody, but it doesn't really make any sense and it doesn't really play into the story. And I suppose they could try to come up with something regarding Taz and Bully Ray in their past or whatever. But yeah, I think it would have been better if they had some sort of something with Taz going on like a few months ago, and you could look back and say, oh, that's why he turned. It all makes sense now. But yeah, that's the problem with TNA, you know, just doing something completely random. This one comes from Hitman Heart 98. In your opinion, Aaron, who are the top 5 best talkers in wrestling history? Number one for me is The Rock, no question about it. He is at the top of my list, clearly number one, followed by a definite number two, Ric Flair. Rock number one, absolutely, and then number two, no questions asked, Ric Flair. And then from there are a lot of guys that are at the top for me. Steve Austin, Hulk Hogan, Vince McMahon, Shawn Michaels, and so on. Those guys, and even CM Punk as of late. CM Punk has consistently been one of the best talkers in WWE, and Chris Jericho as well. So those guys would all be close to equal for me. But like I said, Rock 1, Ric Flair 2, and then the other names I mentioned, you could put them in any order. This one comes from the Night Pigeon. Hey Aaron, is it true that El Generico got signed to WWE? If so, what do you think that they will do with his character, if anything at all? Please answer in video. Well, the latest that I heard about it was that Generico will be signed if he passes his physical tests and everything's good to go with that. I'm really, a lot of people have asked me, what do I think about El Generico signing to WWE? I have to say I'm a little bit surprised. He's not really the kind of guy that I would think WWE would sign. And, I am a huge El Generico fan. I don't really follow the indies a lot, but I used to go to PWG all the time here in Southern California, and almost every night that I was there, El Generico would have the best match on the show. I mean, he's just an incredible performer. The problem is that, he's a skinny white guy. He had a tag team with Human Tornado, two skinny white guys. He's not really, that buff, jacked up superstar, larger than life superstar that WWE usually looks for. So it did surprise me when I heard that WWE was interested in him. What they will do with his character, I can't imagine them having him use the same gimmick that he's been using on the indies. I think that they'll, I don't know if they're going to take the mask off of him or what, but it'll be very interesting. If El Generico makes it in WWE, I will be surprised. And it has nothing to do with his ability. I think he's has an extreme amount of talent, but I just don't know if he is the type of superstar that the WWE likes to push. So it will be interesting to see how things play out with him. All right, this last one today comes from Joey Stees ZZ17. Hey Aaron, I still like the NoDQ&A videos, LOL. Anyways, in your opinion, who is the greatest commentator? To me, the greatest is a tie between JBL and heel Jerry Lawler. If you're talking about heel color commentators, number one for me, without question, is Bobby the Brain Heenan. Bobby Heenan was just so entertaining, and he was one of the greatest heels of all time, and not just as a manager but as a commentator. I talk about the Royal Rumble '92. That was Bobby Heenan at his very best. In my opinion, the single greatest heel commentator performance of all time. I dare anybody to try to show me a better performance than that '92 Rumble with Bobby Heenan. I mean, that was just gold right there. And then number two, and this is more my personal taste because it's more of what I grew up with, would be Jesse the Body Ventura. I thought that he was an excellent heel color commentator, and he'd always rag on Hogan for cheating, but then when the heels do it, he calls them brilliant, and he just did a great job, and he'd always side with the heels, and I loved Jesse Ventura, and him and Monsoon were a great a great team, announcing team, and of course. Jerry Lawler, when he was a heel, his early run in WWE, he was great. And JBL, JBL's not like a full-fledged heel commentator, but he's still very good as that color guy, the guy that tries to create laughs and gets on the case of the main play-by-play announcer. So yeah, JBL does a great job as well. All right, that'll do it for this edition of NoDQ&A video. Thanks as always for watching. I appreciate all the viewers out there and all the support. Keep spreading the word on Facebook and Twitter. And as I mentioned, next weekend is the Royal Rumble. I will be there after the Rumble pay-per-view in Phoenix. We're having a get-together at the the Tilted Kilt in downtown Phoenix. So if you want more details on that, if you're going to be in the Phoenix area and you want to meet up, you can message me at Facebook, facebook.com/AaronRift, and just keep spreading the word about No DQ&A Video, and I will see you guys this coming week for more No DQ&A Video.